Yo, what's going on, friends and family? My name is Skylent, and let's talk about the top 10 most fun MMO. This is going to be my personal definition of fun, which is going to be lighthearted enjoyment, so not just a good MMO, not just I guess to a lot of people, enjoying MMO. It's not just that, guys. It is fun, as in silly, comical, or literally funny. This is going to be lighthearted MMOs that have a lot of maybe casual mechanics, but it's going to be mechanics that are just in your face or face value. Fun, lighthearted enjoyment. Okay, now that we understand the premise of the top 10, these are going to be also proper MMOs. So nothing with just 4 players. These are big worlds, big stuffs. Anyways, yeah, you guys got the gist? All right, so let's jump right in. Number 10 is going to be DC Universe Online. Remember, you can actually play this on your PS4 as well, and it's a fantastic game to play with younger players, your little cousins, little brothers, sisters, children. It's fantastic, and I think it really blends kind of like hardcore mechanics in some way. It's not a hardcore game at all, don't get me wrong, but it does have a lot of like viscerality to it. Like, you are going to be jumping and dashing and flying all over the place. There is a decent amount of action to the game, and obviously, like, hints and nods to some older, in-universe stuffs. It's DC Comics, right? So I think that does appeal to an older audience, and at the same time, the gameplay, the art aesthetic, the design, and the safety of the art style, it just makes it comfortable for parents to play with their children. So I definitely want to promote it because of that. But take it seriously a little bit. I know it's not a hardcore MMO. It's not known for its endgame rating or anything like that. But I love just jumping into this game and playing it even now today, even on the PS4. It is such a nice experience being able, I personally, I like going as the super fast character. You pick the speed power and just jumping from building to building. Like, the stuff that you can do in this MMO is really different from most MMO, and of course it looks very different as well, so I gotta put it on this list for top 10 most fun MMO, a great way to start it out. But next up, we have something that's really kind of opposite. This is not mechanically very gifting. It's not something that's very in your face when it comes to like platforming. There's like almost no platform. I mean, there's some little puzzles here, but it's not really. It's point click, it's tile based. I understand it's super slow and it is really dated, but with the mobile version coming out, as well as RuneScape 3 and rumors of a new RuneScape, a rumor, but more than confirmed, I guess. RuneScape is actually a really funny game. I know it's kind of hard to get into older looking games, but if you just kind of consider it like, think of it as a playable comic strip, and you're going to have so much fun with the RuneScape questing. Now, this game can actually be hardcore. It does have endgame, aside from, a lot of games on this list don't have that. This can be a very, very hardcore game, but RuneScape, at its like face value, you do have these quests. It's sort of like a point-and-click adventure game. Think of it like that. And it is hardcore in a sense that if you die, you do lose a lot of stuff, and it takes a long time to grind and blah, blah, blah. But seriously, the questing is so charming. Please, somebody in the comments debate with me that these quests are not good. These quests have, like, you have to actually rack your brain a couple of times. There's some really interesting character dynamics that you do see reoccurring, and the storylines are pretty decent. It's not going to be an epic, really. It's not going to be something that's going to, tug on your heartstrings too much. Sometimes, maybe. It's really more funny. So think of it like that. Think of it as a comic strip MMO, something like in the vein of Adventure Quest, and you're going to have a fantastic time. But of course, for those who want to stick around and play that hardcore endgame, well, now you know why RuneScape has lived all these years. Next up here, at number 8, we have Blade and Soul. Now, I never went too far with Blade and Soul. I heard that there is an end game. It takes a little bit to get there, but this is also known kind of as an esport MMO, or a 1v1 fighting game that's pretty much taken seriously in Korea. However, Blade and Soul in the West, in my opinion, the way you can play it is probably more of a short-lived or shorter burn MMO, and there's nothing wrong with playing it like that. But it's just like the wuxia MMO, and it's got this very interesting anime-inspired art that is from Hyungtae Kim, if I'm not mistaken there, a fantastic artist. The inspiration is obviously there. It's something that a lot of MMOs have been inspired by. So aesthetically, a wuxia, what exactly is that? You might be asking. Well, it's going to be basically kung fu type of stuff, right? It's going to be Chinese-inspired, and it's going to be like people, a cloud walking and doing a lot of kung fu martial arts. It's very much a martial arts MMO, and that's why it's also so good as a 1v1 MMO. And a lot of other these games being inspired, they're not quite there. They haven't quite hit the mark, and that's why Blade and Soul is so popular, even in the West, even though it came out like, 6 years after its initial release. It's something that a lot of people were craving, and now you can play it. So it is a little bit awkward here and there, I have to admit it, especially when you try to go for the long term, but dude, jump in for a weekend. Very similar to DC Universe Online. You're going to be flying all over the place, and it is just in your face, kung fu fighting fun. All right, number 7, we have World of Warcraft, and I know you guys know of this game. I'm not going to further explain it too much, but I am going to critique it here and kind of explain why you should give it a little bit of attention, because I know especially this audience who's so desperately looking for an MMO, you guys actually, at least my subscribers, haven't really played World of Warcraft. Now, I played back in Vanilla, Burning Crusade, and a little bit of a couple of other expansions, tried it here and there, towed the water to see what the temperature was like, and overall, didn't feel it. It was a little bit colder than what I remember, not as warm. But World of Warcraft now is actually starting to kind of churn out something that I'm more in favor of, where they're getting, like, kind of copying Guild Wars 2 with its leveling, or it's sort of squished down leveling so that everything is a little bit more challenging slightly. It takes a little bit longer to get through the content. The content is more meaningful, and of course, you have a little bit more balance with the leveling, so you're not just running through the different zones too quickly. But World of Warcraft early game leveling is really fun. I would have to say for the Undead and the Blood Elf starting zone especially are really good, but all of them got revamped for Cataclysm, so 1 to 20, which you can play for free, especially the Undead Zone, is really good. If you just read a little bit here and there, just speed read it, quick skim, you're gonna have a great time. And now the leveling past that, which normally was completely boring, is actually really fun. Terra and WildStar can't say that. You basically got to buy boosters. You're not going to have that great of a time. But then World of Warcraft, of course, has that award-winning end game that so many games wish they could reach the quality of. So yeah, it's tried and true tab targeting, but it's really free-flowing. It's actually really action-packed. And a lot of these classes have, even though it's still the mage, the warlock, the hunter, they actually have some really refreshing mechanics that you need to check out if you haven't in a long time. All right, number 6 is going to be Black Desert Online. This is going to be probably one of the testiest items on the list here, but Black Desert Online, if you just look at it in terms of its raw mechanics and what you can do, no other game reaches the speed. No other game reaches the scale and depth of the PvP and the PvE when it comes to what you can do as a player. So it's kind of similar to DC Universe Online or Blade and Soul. Those games are super fun because of what you can do. You jump around, you fly around, and that's in your face fun. However, Black Desert Online is very repetitious. It's very face roll in a lot of most of the areas. But there is a lot that you can do. This is sort of a pseudo sandbox game where I had so much fun just sailing around and hunting behemoths or leviathans in the waters or whaling. That was super cool. And yeah, it can actually be fun and almost, I would say, therapeutic to just grind through the mobs. And I think a lot of you guys would agree, but then at the same time, a lot of you guys think that, it's not as hard-hitting as you would like. But there is a couple of different facets and ways to play with Black Desert Online. There's a couple of ways to actually view this game, and I think overall, this is something that it's such a cheap game, and it's so weird that I think everyone should try it, and immediately you'll either love or hate it. But for those that love it, you will have fun. Next up, we've got PlanetSide 2. One of the best action MMOs out there because it's like the only shooter MMO. Now, we do have a few others that are on the horizon, but PlanetSide 2 is like the only true FPS MMO out there. You can debate with me the definition of MMO if you want to, but PlanetSide 2 is the only game that is an FPS that has as many players on the screen as you do. And then, of course, you have the meta map, territory control, taking over bases. It's ridiculous. Now, PlanetSide 2 has been around for a while, but a lot of people kind of come and go, and they don't really stick to it, or they don't even give it, a second thought, because it's like, what is PlanetSide 2? What even is that experience? And a lot of people just don't get it. Basically, you can just jump in and have a blast, get into vehicles, and at the same time, you could just jump in and get face rolled. You could just get killed over and over again. That kind of sucks. So what I'm going to suggest to you to really get the fun of PlanetSide 2 is, yes, you could just jump in and play, but I think it's great to join a guild, join a clan, join a Discord. It's actually pretty easy to do that in PlanetSide 2. They actually have systems in place to go ahead and join squads, and you just jump in, listen to the commanders, listen to the people who maybe know what they're talking about, and just follow their orders, and dude, it's a whole new game. So I know, PlanetSide 2 is one of those games that is easy to jump into, but it's also easy to fall out of. So just follow that advice, and you will have a blast. But yeah, next up on the list, now that we're past the halfway mark, we have Elder Scrolls Online. Now, this is another game that I gotta kind of teach you and coach you on how to have fun, because Elder Scrolls Online, when it launched, it was buggy, it wasn't that great, and a lot of people kind of, I don't know, sold it short. But actually, over time, this game has grown to be very well polished, has a lot of content and so much to do, but also players have kind of learned how to play the game a little bit better. See, Elder Scrolls Online combat and gameplay overall with its mechanics and classes, you make your own classes. You slot your own abilities, and you kind of play the game how you want to. However, as a new player, you don't know what you want in the game yet, so it's kind of hard to make a good build. You can't actually make bad builds. Like, legit, you can be useless and die over and over again. And also, you can just not mechanically understand how to do things, like animation cancels are kind of needed to make the gameplay and the fighting really worthwhile. So before you jump into Elder Scrolls Online, which I'm sure we all understand what the game overall scope is and, you know, what it entails, sure, I don't need to explain that. But I do ask that you guys look online for guides and just, you know, do a quick little search, a little slight tutorial, and then instantaneously after that, immediately you will be having fun. Next up on the list, we have Trove. Now, this is a game that used to be really close to my heart, very beloved. They've recently, well, in the past year, have made some changes with some classes. It's harder to get classes. It's like impossible, I think, actually. You have to pay for them. But if you do play this game, it's still at its heart very childish. It's so very cute. And I know it looks like a Minecraft MMO kind of thing, but it actually is very action-packed. It is very vertical. It's like literally a platforming MMO. But there's still some really cool and charming stuff to play with Trove. It's very casual friendly, and I think it's really more focused maybe on repetitious grinding more than it used to be, really more focused on the creative side, but that's still cool. A lot of people can really enjoy that. So yeah, it's a more of a fun casual game. There is some difficulty. It's not going to have like endgame proper rating or anything like that. It does have something, you know, it does have something for players who do want to continue to play it, but overall what I'm finding is it's a really cool weekend MMO. You can jump in, you play like this voxely MMO, maybe with your little kid, and you can jam to it and have a blast. There is an interesting economy to the game. I mean, there's sort of interesting trading, I think, and just kind of having a goal, you know, setting aside like, oh, I want to get that mount, oh, I want to get that cosmetic, and, you know, I want to craft this, I want to do that, then you can have a really cool time with it. Or if you're one of those people that want to make really fun kind of islands and things, you know, you can actually customize islands for your guild or customize your house. You know, you kind of got that too. It's not quite Minecraft level, but Trove is still a very action-packed, in-your-face, colorful experience. Now, number 2, and you can debate with me all you want in the comments below, but now I'm gonna put Minecraft. Now, I have to say, Minecraft as a whole is not an MMO. Obviously, you can just play it single player, but Minecraft does have MMO servers, and it's not hard to find them. You literally just type in MMO Minecraft, you will find a plethora of servers, and a lot of them aren't called MMO, but they still have, like, you know, the MMO features, the social features. You can find those social servers inside of Minecraft and have a blast. Now, one I played was called Epicsburg, and fittingly so, it was an epic experience. Probably one of the most awesome hardcore experiences in my life, and I mean that actually. It was a hardcore open world experience. Everyone was kind of competing and building, and there was an actual trade economy. It was so cool. It was so fantastic, and I really appreciated it. But a lot of people don't realize that there's new servers now, because the one I played was vanilla. Probably the ones you guys played were vanilla servers, but now we have all these cool plugins, and you can have add-ons and things where you can have spells, and you can have literal levels, and it's a literal MMO RPG. I think Windcraft is one of the better ones, so there is some really interesting servers that you guys have been overlooking. You guys aren't talking about it enough, and that's why I'm throwing it at number 2. It's one of the most instantaneously most fun MMO. Alright guys, but I gotta show my bias here. I gotta show it right here with number 1 being Guild Wars 2. This is probably my most played MMO. You know, second would be something like RuneScape and then World of Warcraft and actually Black Desert Online, but Guild Wars 2 is something that I just keep coming back to because I keep getting reasons to come back. So why is it the most fun MMO? Immediately is pretty much what makes it special, and that's gonna be like its jumping puzzles. It's gonna be the way that it's designed on these really fun thematic seasonal events too, as well, like the Halloween events where you can go and play like the maze, you know, run. You have the actual like the clock tower jumping puzzle, and then you have the winter events. But it's not just like those seasonal events. You also have the living story, so you consistently, you know, have to jump in and play this episodic story. So that's great. That's just in your face, getting fed to your eyeballs. Fun, you know, storytelling. It is voiced, and the mechanics overall for the game is pretty action-packed. You can literally have it in action camera mode, so it's not just tab targeting. And the overall feel of this game is just so good to jump in. Like, you have some of the most giant, massive MMO fights when it comes to PvE with these big bosses and dragons that you're slaying with hundreds of other players, or like a lot of other players. I don't know if it's hundreds, but definitely, uncontestedly, a massive game there. And there's so much to do, but of course, just casually. You can level up just doing PvP. You can level level up just doing crafting. You can freaking go and just explore and do jumping puzzles. There's so much that you can do casually with this game, but at the same time, it's not just silly and just social. It's like actually action-packed. It's fun. It's a freaking platforming MMO, and it's really meaningful with that too. And there's so much that you can do in this game. I think it's a very well-rounded MMO, and every part of it is this sort of, in a way, fantasy Bollywood sort of feel, but that's really cool. And I really appreciate it. Some other games have tried it, such as WildStar, but I think Guild Wars 2 just hits it. So yeah, my most fun MMO overall, considering different ways of playing, Guild Wars 2 gives you all those ways and is fantastic in each one. So guys, that's the end of my top 10. I know with some of these games I was a little harsh, and this is kind of a review. These are like little mini reviews, and as a whole, you can consider a top 10 of a review, but this is gonna be my most fun MMOs. Now I talk from the heart, right? I don't script this, I just say what I know and what I feel, but if I'm incorrect in anything, or if a game has changed and evolved, I know some people got some words about Trove, go ahead, leave it in the comments below, and I absolutely love that. But if you had more fun with an MMO and you wanna shout it out, like, hey, honorable mention here, I could just throw this one out, Toontown Rewritten. Absolutely, I know a lot of guys jam to that. Go ahead, leave that as well in the comments below. But thanks for watching, guys. Now, it's really hard to play all these games and review them, even if they're mini reviews, even if it's a top 10 list. So that's why I want to peel some eyeballs off to the Patreon. And I just want to say thank you guys so much for sponsoring, as well as donating whenever I do stream these games and other games and stuff like that. When I do these reviews, I do take top 10 seriously, and I do talk from the heart, and hopefully you appreciate that. So thanks so much for liking, subscribing, and commenting, letting me know how you feel, and just that you are feeling something, because that's what it's all about. I hope we're all here and having fun. Thanks for watching. My name's Skylent, and I'll see you in the next one.